Welcome back to Modern Jubilees. Let's take a moment to talk about why Jubilees is the most amazing text, why it is so unique, why it is so special, why it is so important to be familiar with this text. What sets it apart from the other texts? Why do I put the Book of Jubilees right next to the Pentateuch, the Torah, in terms of the importance and significance of this text, even though books like Samuel are also incredible texts and very, very important? Why? Because Jubilees is entirely unique. Jubilees is a book that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai. Just like what? Just like the Torah. Any other book? No. Just the Torah and Jubilees were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. The Torah was given to Moses from God. It really is a divine text. It's a code. It's extraordinary. The Hebrew is just one big code. It's absolutely incredible how the Hebrew letters develop. It's really mind-blowing, but we're not going to go into that right now. Jubilees, however, is also a very, very special text that dates back to the same exact time. Moses is on Mount Sinai, but who does he get Jubilees from? Not God itself, no, from an angel that is with Moses on Mount Sinai, an angel that is known as the angel of the interior. This is the angel of the face. This is Malach HaPnim in the Hebrew. It's a special angel. It's a holy angel. It's a significant angel. It's with Moses on Mount Sinai. And it gives Moses this text. Jubilees is made up of 50 chapters, which mirrors the theme of the Jubilees. A Jubilee is a period of 50 years. And it is given from this angel who is retelling the story of the Torah, specifically Genesis and the first third of Exodus, but it's giving it from the perspective of the angel. The angel is talking about when the angels were created, it's telling us about all the different angels that were created, talks about the 22 creations within the 6 days of creation, and it goes on, and it's an incredible framing story of this angel being with Moses on Mount Sinai and talking to Moses, and this being written down. So this is completely unique. Now, in the Jewish world, the Book of Jubilees is thought of as a text of midrash. It's put with the midrash texts because it's hard to know where to put it. It's the most ancient source for many of the stories that are told in the books of midrash. So books like Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, for example. These are completely accepted books of midrash. They're very ancient texts, but the books of midrash are usually sort of commentary on the Torah, giving extra stories, and some of them are far out and hard to understand, but that's what they are. They're sort of a commentary on the Torah, as opposed to Jubilees, which is a complete book. It's 50 chapters. You don't have something like that with the midrash, which is more of a commentary that's running along with the Torah. Here it is a different text altogether. And one of the other interesting things about this book is that it talks about time in terms of Jubilees, 50-year periods. Now, Jubilees is a perfect cross-reference for the Torah because it does tell over a lot of the same stories from Genesis, Exodus, but it gives a different perspective. And it's not like the other books of Midrash because it's so complete as a unique sort of text. It's got these 50 chapters, sort of like the 5 books of Moses that we have. There's a completion to the book, and yet there's a division within the book. It's a very holy book. It's a very special book. It was not preserved by the Jews, although the Essenes, that sect, did study it, but it was buried along with a lot of the scrolls that are found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Jubilees is one of the most prevalent texts found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. But it was preserved best by the Ethiopians, who are Semitic. Their language, Gez, is a Semitic language, and they are part of the Semitic family, the Ethiopians, and their church, the Tewahedo Church, and their Jewish community as well, the Beta Israel, consider Jubilees part of their Tanakh, part of their Bibles, since the beginning of the canonization of their Bibles. This is one of their holy texts. They preserved extremely well, better than the Latin was preserved, better than the Hebrew was preserved through all the persecution and years. It wasn't included in the Torah, in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, perhaps because it's too much of a book of like midrash-like, because it's coming from an angel. They didn't really know how to place it. for whatever reason, it's not included in the Tanakh, but it also just wasn't preserved well among the Jews at all. Most Jews have never even heard of this amazing, amazing text. Although Saadia Gaon, a very famous rabbi who had a school in Babylon, his school studied the Book of Jubilees in the original Hebrew in around the year 1000 CE. So some communities did gain access to it, even in the original Hebrew then. But in general, Jews are not familiar with this text, but it's such an important text. It is, again, the perfect cross-reference for the Torah. It gives so many extra important stories. For example, in chapters 8 and 9, when Noah divides the earth among his 3 sons, this is one of the most important parts of our united history as humanity. And these aren't the kinds of things that are just, made up. You don't make it into the Ethiopian Bible from just being like a total fabrication out of nowhere. No, these texts are thousands and thousands of years old. They were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, which means they're at least 2,000 years old. And it's not a big stretch that they're actually much older than that. And with the work that I did in my translation and commentaries, it's clear to me that there is nothing within the text that makes it worthy of being thrown out and said, oh, this is non-Jewish, or this is not legitimate, this is pseudepigrapha, it's fake. There's no good enough reason to do that when we go back and we look at what we have. We have a Gez, which was translated from Hebrew to Greek, and from Greek to Gez, apparently, unless it was originally made from also a Hebrew, who knows, but that's what we know, that it came from a Greek that came from the Hebrew. But I don't know exactly. I just know that the Ethiopians kept it extremely well, and it's in all their Bibles, and I respect them very, very much. Very, very much. A beautiful culture with beautiful traditions and beautiful people, the Ethiopians. And so that's what we know. That's how we have Jubilees really well preserved. That's where my translation came to give more life to this text, which I wasn't finding any good, modern, relevant translation and commentary for this era. And so I made this work. I hope that you will check it out. I think that anyone who loves the Torah, the Bible, will love Jubilees and will find tremendous blessing in it and depth in it. It's really, really incredible. Hope you will join us along as we study this text together, and that you will research this also yourself and learn about it. It's sort of like a mini Bible, because the Torah is pretty long, the Pentateuch. It's pretty long. Most people haven't studied it. Jewish people read it pretty much every week. They read a portion from it, study it in school. If we know Hebrew, we're more likely to read it and study it. But outside of that world, it's hard to find people who really, really know it well. Once people get to Leviticus, it's easy to doze off. But it's an incredible text, the Torah in the original Hebrew. But Jubilees doesn't get to Leviticus. It's just even gets to part of Exodus. It's really framed as this text that's so relevant to all of humanity. It tells the story of where we come from, and it does it in what I think is a really exciting way and an interesting way. It's sort of like a different perspective of the Torah. It doesn't come straight from God, who we perhaps are, in awe of and in fear of, and is this tremendous thing. Here it's coming from an angel, and it's closer down to earth for us to touch this book and learn about it and read what it says. Read what these people are saying. It also includes some excerpts from Noah, first person from Noah, from that time period. So it's just an incredible text. It's very wholesome. It's a whole book. It's 50 chapters. It tells history. It gives a timeline, which I have in the end of the book, this timeline of events from the beginning of history, AM, Anno Mundi. It's the Hebrew calendar, how we consider time starting from the time of Adam. The birth of Adam is the beginning of the calendar. That is AM. And we learn a lot of the calendar from Jubilees. We can read it. I did the work and we can read it now. It's a very legible text in English, modern English. I hope that you'll check it out. And I just wanted to share with you why Jubilees is just so special. There's nothing like it. So I hope you enjoyed and found this interesting. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is Modern Jubilees, and we will see you next time.